Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
I love that music.
Yeah, I do too.
We should
Pretty
just
good.
play that for 30 minutes. We could have a
Good little
dance-a-thon in here. Get guitars, and if you guys should see this room, it's amazing. They've got keyboard. Tom has keyboards, guitars, piano, drums.
One time on the YouTube channel, Tom, you need to take everybody on a tour real quick
Yeah.
of
Maybe
this
I
cool
will.
room.
Maybe I will.
Speaking of this place, I literally just looked over during the opening song, and I see this very cool stool. Is it bottle caps?
Yes, bottle caps.
Smashed bottle caps? Did
That's
you
right.
have this made?
I did. I was just I was at the Vickery Park bar over on Henderson like 15 years ago, and I sat next to this artist, and we struck up a conversation, complete strangers, and he told me what he did, and I said that I was in the market for a acoustic guitar stool, so that when I record acoustic guitar, the stool will not make a peep of sound. So when somebody's sitting on it, it doesn't squeak when they lean or shift their weight, because then it'll just get on the microphones. And he said, so it needs to be solid steel with solid wood. And then he built me a little pick drawer. You can't, if you see that little silver
I
hook,
see it. I see
that's
it.
a drawer for guitar picks right there in the stool.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And is there any significance with the...
Holy Trinity,
With-
those three black circles on the top.
Oh, no, I don't see that.
Yeah,
I was
it's on
going
the
to...
top. It's just a symbol that I've always enjoyed.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say with the different bottle caps.
No, he just
Okay.
collected different ones
Okay.
and just used them.
Okay.
But he took black ones to make that design on the top of the stool.
What
So,
an artist.
Did he just pound them flat?
Yes, and then waxed over with some sort of crazy epoxy that's like really smooth and clear.
It's a really cool stool.
Yeah, it is.
It's such
It's
a
real
cool-
heavy. I mean, it's probably 40 pounds at least.
Wow.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
it's-
it doesn't move. There's not one moving part on it, so it can't make any noise.
We learn a
That
lot
is-
from you.
we
Last week
really
we learned
do.
about EQ. So did you.
Yeah.
You learned about EQ.
Yeah,
too.
emotional quotient.
You
You're
know,
like, did you just accidentally say EQ instead of IQ? I'm like, no. Did you just accidentally misinterpret IQ for EQ?
I would like to come in here and play with all of these toys.
Yeah.
And then have
fun trinkets in
music
here.
blasted. Do you have, because you've got all these speakers in here too, so you
Yes.
can have really great music.
Indeed.
Do you like Spoon, the band?
Oh yeah, I love Spoon. As a matter of fact, the keyboard player for Spoon, I've recorded some of his music. That
That's
one of
cool.
those guitar amps that's next to that piano actually belonged to Spoon. And
Did you
Oh,
tell,
you told us that.
Tom that too,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I
You've
did.
told
Yeah.
that. You've shared that story
Yeah.
on here. That's a cool
Yeah.
story.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is. I think it'd be fun to be in here and blast Spoon.
Yeah.
can
That can be
sing.
arranged.
I might have to have a cocktail or two before
would
we
be
got on.
so fun.
Wouldn't it? Let's have a party back here.
You could
Well,
host
Blair,
karaoke night here.
Didn't you have something back here?
Yes, our Christmas party last year, so I guess
Yeah.
14 months ago, she came to that, and we definitely had music playing out here loud, like for the people who stayed past midnight.
She's a really good dancer. You know, when I took the girls to St. Bart's one time, and there's this restaurant in St. Bart's that at midnight they clear all the dishes off the table, and then people get on the tables and dance
Oh, how
with really
fun.
loud music. So I took the girls there, and Blair and probably both of her sisters were dancing. And so the next day we were sitting on the beach, and this girl came up to me and she said, "Is that your daughter?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I saw her last night dancing on the table." And I said, "Oh, yeah." And she goes, "Is she a stripper?"
That's hilarious.
Because she can. Have you ever seen her? Well, you probably saw her dance.
Yeah,
She can dance.
That's so cute. She's a cutie too.
She's hilarious.
I mean, even just her as a yoga instructor, she cannot sit still. She's tapping, moving her little tush, singing while she's like doing yoga. I mean, she loves music. Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, she's funny.
Well, that apple didn't fall far from the tree. You love music
I
too.
do love music.
Okay, we need to thank our sponsor for today, Frances Mitchell. She gave us a handsome little donation sponsoring last week and this week. So thank you so much, Francie, for being a huge supporter. We make it super easy for you to get behind what we're doing. So whether you are a small business, corporation, individual, we absolutely would love and appreciate your sponsorships. Every episode's $200, and all you have to do is Venmo at Tova Sido. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys, for donating.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
We do.
We don't buy shoes with it. We promise.
I wish. God, give us more donations so we can do that. No, it's all for the cause.
It's all for the cause.
It's all for your remedies.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we are doing a topic that I'm really excited about. I think, Tom, especially you will, well, I appreciate it because I have kids who are coming out of being teenagers but still often act like teenagers. And you have one that's about to head in. So
Yeah.
I think you'll get a lot out of this, Tom.
Yes, indeed.
And people in your what is that age group or what kids with that age? Betty's 10, 11?
She's 8.
Oh, she's 8.
Oh, she's got some time.
Oh, gosh, she seems so mature.
She is a mature little girl.
She definitely is.
She
Wow.
really is.
I saw her today, and she does not seem like a 8-year-old.
No, she's mature. She really is.
She is.
Emotionally mature.
Yeah, she has a high EQ. Tom.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, this will be fun because I have 2 teenage grandchildren right now.
Well, and you've counseled a lot of teenagers. And
I have.
counseled a ton of parents who are hurting or struggling because of their teenagers. So
Yep.
I think this will be a good one. So we have a list, 10 things teenagers want to say to their parents. It'll be interesting to see if we agree with these all as well. Okay, so the first one, I really like this one. Please talk to me, or I'd even go so far as say with me, and not at me. Boy, parents are guilty of this.
Yep. Yeah.
Why do you think that's good advice, Janice?
Well, because they have an opinion, and when we're talking with them, and even if we have something that we need to say to them, we want to be mindful of how they're going to hear it. Because what we're wanting to do with teenagers in particularly, we want to help them self-regulate, because at that age, at about age 12, 13, kids sometimes have trouble regulating their emotions and their verbiage and that sort of thing. And so we want to make sure that we're allowing them to express themselves, and we want to we've got to listen and hear them, even if you disagree with it.
Why is it so hard for so many parents when their children disagree with them?
Because they're out of control at wanting to be in control, and they're scared. They're scared to death that the kids are going to start, as they enter adolescence, then they're going to start drinking, maybe smoking weed or whatever it is.
Some sort of
having
rebellious
sex, some
behavior.
sort of behavior that the parents are not quite ready to wrap their arms around, or even have any idea about it. So I think that that's really, really important. And so what you can do when you're talking to your teenagers is you can say, hey, there's something that I really am interested in talking with you about. Is this a good time for you to listen? And then you say what you want to say, and then you can say, you have any you want to talk about that at all, or do you want to add to it, or do you disagree with it? And they'll probably, for the most part, say no thanks.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure. And that's okay.
But you're giving them the opportunity to, which then by doing that, you're saying to your teenagers what you think matters, and I care about that. You know, because they are not us.
Yep. And I think that one thing that we do as parents, I know I did, is, and I'm not, I wish I didn't, but you know, hindsight's 20/20, and that rear view mirror is so clear. But one thing that I did that I wish I could go back and redo is when my child disagreed with me, I had very little room for that. And I think a lot of parents, I don't think I'm alone in this, I felt like they were being disrespectful. And they're not being disrespectful. They're just having their own thought process, opinion. And, you know, they're in a completely different life category, perspective than we are.
Well, yeah. And then if we don't allow them to have the ability to express themselves, then they're not going to do it with their friends if their friends are trying to get them to do something. So being able, allowing, I know that with my 3 now very adult daughters, that I did not do it the right way. I guarantee I talked more to them and
at them than with them.
I would do that way over. And I know that my girls are very different with their children, so I'm so grateful for that. I think everything has shifted. You know, I think the world recognizes that there are better ways to raise teenagers than to just fuss at them all the time.
Nag them, talk at them,
try to
tell them what to do, exactly how to do it. Yeah, I think our parents beat us down a little bit too much, and I think I think I did it a little bit better than my parents, but I still probably talked at my children way more than I wish I did.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
All right, number 2.
Okay, number 2, give me a chance to get it wrong. Now, how about that? Because it's a little scary, because there are dangers that teenagers are maybe not really accepting the danger around things and behaviors and some activities.
Well, that part of their brain just hasn't finished developing.
No.
The part that says, if you do this, this could happen.
Yeah. And so, you know, but you can't micromanage them.
No.
And so...
Well, you can, but that's not going to help your relationship with them.
Yeah. Well,
they're going to learn how to hide things.
Well, and they're going to go away to school. I mean, they're going to go to junior high and high school. And so they're, you know, they're going to make some choices. Their choices, we think that we can make sure that they're doing it right, but we can't, because they're on their own. They're really getting to the point of being on their own. So I think that is a really important thing, is that we can tolerate the insecurity and the fear that we have in ourselves. It's scary if there are certain things that they do that then they get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
And what an opportunity. I mean, I don't want to go into detail because it's my daughter, but she had a rough go over Thanksgiving and stubbed her toe pretty good. And after things calmed down and we talked about it, and she apologized, and just, you know, her eyes were widened through that tough experience. And after we talked about, I said, baby, did you learn what you felt like you needed to learn through that? And she was like, oh man, did I, Mom? And I said, then let's learn the lessons. You taught me this, throw away the experience, and let's move on.
Yeah.
And she just started crying. And she was like, thank you. I said, I never need to talk about that again. And I think that kids, when we give our children permission to be human, I don't care. I think that I think that kids always have some element, conscious or not, of wanting to please their parents.
Oh, yeah.
And wanting to never be a disappointment to their parents. And so even if they act like they don't care, I really think they do.
Oh, I think they do too.
And so if we love them, even in their mistakes, and allow that, talk about the lessons. Heck yeah. Talk about the lessons. But we don't keep bringing up the experience and making them pay and filling them with shame.
Yeah, we don't want to beat them up with it.
Yeah. And, let's move on.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a shocking thing for a child to hear, because I think they expect their moms and dads to belabor the mistake. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to let it go.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Tom, you want to tackle number 3?
Sure. Let's see. Have faith in my abilities. Respect me. Tell me I can do it.
I love that.
I do too.
You can do this.
Yeah. Instead of telling,
it's going to be hard. I'm not sure.
I don't know about that.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And boy, did they adopt whatever mindset you have as a parent. Mm-hmm. I have seen this through and through. Mm-hmm. There's a girl that I counsel who has the thought process of all the things that could go wrong. Mm-hmm. That's all she thinks about, is all the things. But what if da-da-da, and what if da-da-da. And so her son came to talk to me, and he talks exactly like her.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he's 11.
Oh, gosh.
And he's like, but what if, da-da-da, and what if, I'm like, oh, it's happening. It's already happening. Like, you have adopted this mindset of all the things that could go wrong instead of all the things that could go right.
Which means you're going to live a very limited existence. The plane could crash.
Yep.
I could drown in the river.
Yep. There might be snakes.
Yeah.
It might be scary. What if? Well, what if not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I am so thankful I do not have that mindset.
Me too.
Okay, number 4, pulling away doesn't mean I don't love you. I need this time. So what do they need this time for, Janice?
To develop their own value system. They're starting to do that. They've learned a lot, but they have to do a little bit of testing in order to determine if that is applicable to them. So if they don't have time to be with their peers and not be under the thumb of their parents all the time, they will start to develop their own value system. Mm-hmm. And that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I also think that this is something that all 3 of my children have done. That, we were thick as thieves when they were young, and then there was a time, and for each of them it was in different age and in different ways, but all 3 of them have pulled away.
Oh, yeah,
from me.
And developed friendships that they don't have anything to do with you.
Started to confide in other people and not me. And so when children are small, we're their everything. But then they grow up and they start to have, like you said, a life of their own. And I think as parents, it is so easy to take that so personal.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids used to fight about who was going to sit next to me at the restaurant. Like, there were times there were chairs knocked over because nobody gives a shit about sitting next to mom anymore.
No, they're saying, I don't want to be there. I don't want to sit there. Exactly. She'll be telling me to eat with my mouth shut.
Ask me too many questions. But that's not because they don't love me.
No.
It's not because I did something wrong. It's not because
they're doing it because they need to do it.
Yes.
They have to separate.
Yes.
It's part
Healthy.
of the plan.
it's healthy.
It is very healthy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I really like that one. I need this time.
Even if it's
say that.
scary, and it is kind of scary.
Well, you're starting to lose control.
Yeah, well, which is an illusion anyway, you know, but it is.
But when they're
so
6,
important.
you know exactly where they are and exactly what they're doing.
Tearing something up.
Yeah, well, maybe you actually don't. Maybe more when they're like 8 or 9, you know.
Yeah.
You know where they're doing, you know where they're at. It's
Yeah.
pretty predictable, but it gets pretty unpredictable as they get older.
It does.
And that's a hard thing to get used to.
Yeah.
I remember Carter one time, he and I got in a pretty big doozy. And he said to me, "It's not about you. Everything is not about you." And I was like, wait, it's not.
It's not?
But it was a real big eye opener that I was taking so many behaviors of theirs personal. He's like, "I'm just trying to grow up, Ma."
Yeah.
In so many words.
Yeah.
All right. You want the next one?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm trying harder than you know. I love that. Yeah. I think parents can get so wadded up about their grades or how well they're doing in basketball or in their cheerleading or whatever.
That's a great word. Wadded up.
Yeah.
I think most kids are really trying.
I do too. I really do.
And I think most parents are really trying.
I think if they're not trying, then the first thing I would do is try, if it's academics, it would be to try to get them tested to make sure there's not some sort of a learning difference, you know. But kids are not, they're not like adults that are going to, they tend to want to do it and do it well. If they're going to do it, they want to do it and do it well if they choose to do it. You know?
And I don't know that added pressure helps.
I don't think it does.
It does not help. That is not a motivator for my children.
No, I don't
if
think
I'm on their ass.
I don't think it's a motivator for anybody, really. I really don't. I think that it may motivate them to do it just so that they get out of the thumb.
Yeah.
From under the thumb.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Just so you'll stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom, you want the next one?
Sure. Treat me like the adult I'm becoming, not the kid I'm leaving behind.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for the teenagers, you know, to be able to say, what do you think about this? What do you want to do? Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to have a problem with this one because I feel like I probably treat Betty more like an adult than I should treat her like a kid. Like I think I'm forgetting that she's a kid sometimes.
I wonder if that is easier to do with just one child.
Maybe so.
Because the adults rule in the house. You know, like there's more of an adult mindset in your household than there is a child. Like if she had a sibling or two siblings, the kids kind of take over, you know, and the kids kind of have the not upper hand, but you know what I'm trying to say. But Betty is interacting with pretty much adults when she's not at school.
That's correct.
So that would make sense to me.
Yeah, it would. For sure.
I have always found that quality in children who don't have siblings. They always just seem a little bit better with adults.
Well, yeah,
they seem really good with adults.
They're more mature a little bit. They mature a little more quickly. Yeah.
Oh, number 7, listen to me. And then it says, I have so much I want to say. You know, I agree with that. I think that maybe a tip for that I've learned as a parent is not, okay, all 3 of my children talk. They will talk to me. But all 3 of my children talk to me and communicate with me differently at different times for different reasons. Like Anna Prin, she'll talk to me at any time about anything. and she'll go deep quick. Carter, he needs concentrated time. So I have to take Carter on a date. And I learned this when he was young. I started taking my kids on individual dates on a monthly basis when my kids were young. And Carter will tell me anything on date night. And George will talk to me in the car, and George will talk to me if we're just home eating dinner or we're just sitting on the couch watching a movie. Something will come up. But so you kind of have to find that individual sweet spot for your teenager. I've heard a lot of parents say that their kids talk to them when they come home from going out. Craig's boys do that. If we're home chilling out and they come home Friday, Saturday night, they're chatty. I mean, we've stayed up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning chatting with his boys. And you just have to kind of do it because that's when they are talking. So I think it's as individual as unique as the individual, but I do think that they want to talk, and I do think they have a lot to say.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Did you find that with your girls?
Yeah.
That they approached you differently and needed things differently?
Well, from each other?
No, from you. Oh. Like they weren't the same.
No, they were different. They were really different. Some of them, but they would talk, but they had all three. They had each other, so they would go. They were tight with one another.
That's so
but
cool.
They really did talk. They do talk.
Yeah,
and they still talk. They'll tell me a lot. Sometimes I don't really want to hear it. A little nervous about it.
I've felt that before. Like I'm gonna try to act like this is
okay,
not scary.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, even my boys will talk to me, but you just have to do it on their terms.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
You want to take 8?
Sure. I'm excited about my future, but I'm also scared. I think this is really important because I think that it's so okay to be scared about like going to college and are my grades going to be good enough? Am I going to have a boyfriend? Am I going to have a girlfriend? Am I going to make the football team? Whatever it is. And that's scary. The whole thing is scary. It's scary growing up. And, the parents aren't around as much to kind of protect them. And so I think I love this because I think it is important for parents to even be able to say, wow, you're going to be going to high school next year. Is that kind of scary to you? To really kind of throw that out there and give them the opportunity
and permission
to talk about that and to be scared. Being scared is not a bad thing. Being scared is a human thing.
I think it's almost strange if you're not scared.
Yeah.
Growing up is scary.
It can be, for sure. Yeah.
Sometimes it's still scary.
It is.
Being a grown up. I saw this so much with George when he was trying to make a decision about football. I mean, he's just been a different person the last month, coming down to decision day. And I know it's because he just doesn't want to make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And I was like, after he signed, I was like, can we get back to like good moods and happy and like he was just a stress ball about it.
Oh yeah.
And it's because he's scared.
Well, and even if they're not, just going to college itself is scary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And making the choice of where to go and am I making the right choice? It's a really big deal.
I did always tell my kids, you can change your mind.
Oh.
You do not have to. If you make a choice and you get there and you don't like it, you don't have to stay.
100%.
I mean, you might not leave after the first 2 days. But,
right.
But one semester in, you can leave.
And you're still miserable. Come on. Yeah. I've said the same thing to all of mine.
Yeah.
Number 9, don't give up on me. I need you.
Yeah. That's a lifetime statement.
And I love hearing you say that because your kids are grown
Yeah.
and they still don't want you to give up.
Would
And
never.
they still need you and want you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times people have talked to me. When they've talked to me, they were like, and then I called my mom, and the second I heard her voice, I just started crying. And it doesn't matter how old you are.
No.
You can
No.
just hear that voice of home and you just start crying.
Yeah. That's true.
That's
Yeah.
what that one reminds me of.
Yeah, it does me too.
Tom, you want to finish this up?
Sure. Number 10. Love me unconditionally, please.
Do you think it's possible for us to love our children unconditionally?
Oh, yeah. I think it is. I think it's absolutely.
I think it's the only relationship.
It's the only
that
relationship
you can
that you
love
really,
unconditionally.
Well, I mean, relationships have conditions, but I think with your children and your grandchildren, that will just continue to go on. Is that they cannot do anything that will destroy my
Your love. Yeah.
Now, there could be some conditions that you might have to take a break from or something like that. But that's, I always say, relationships have conditions all over them except for parent to child.
Yeah, I
That's
totally
the
agree.
one.
Yeah, because our love with our significant others has massive conditions.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when people say, I just love him unconditionally, I'm like,
no, you
don't. You taught me that. I'm like, no, you're right. I don't love him. I have massive conditions about my love.
Let me give you my list. It's more than 10.
Totally.
Oh, that's
totally
funny.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot more of these, but I think this is a great, this inspired me to remember things about my kids.
Yeah.
I always say that I think one of the silliest things God ever did was think that it was a good idea for a human to raise another human. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard because we're all just human.
Yeah.
And so to think that we could do a good job in raising another human in all my
we
brokenness.
can do a good job. We just can't do a perfect job.
Yeah, and that's the best way to
That's the
say
difference.
it. Yep. And I just think there's always time. There's, like you and I have talked about a lot and over the years of the remedy about all the mistakes we've made as parents. But there's still time for us to get it right.
Yeah.
And keep going and turn it around. And
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't give up. Well, we hope this helps you guys. Have a wonderful week, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.